Local First starts now.
Good evening, I'm Maddie Kurth. Caught on camera, a man breaks into a Bayou St. restaurant after hours, searching for cash and leaving a mess behind. But as neighbors began checking on each other, it became clear the restaurant wasn't the only business burglarized in the wee hours of Halloween morning. Just after midnight on Tuesday, a man is caught on surveillance camera video crawling through a side window of Cafe Degas on Esplanade Avenue and falling to the ground, pulling out a cash register drawer and trying to break into a safe. How much did he find?
Probably $40. Yeah, we usually keep everything pretty nice and locked up.
Adrian Sulis is the restaurant's manager. He says he woke up Tuesday to a call from his cleaning crew.
She was very freaked out. She wasn't sure if there was somebody still there. And then she sent me photos. I arrived maybe 10 minutes later.
Sulis started asking around to his neighbors.
And I just started to kind of investigate what was stolen.
The cameras at Conseco's Esplanade Market captured video of the suspect's car going the wrong way down Ponce de Leon Street,
which apparently was really good information for the police. They didn't know that he had a car before.
Within a few blocks, staff at Cece's Coffee House and Liuzza's By the Track said the suspect broke into their businesses as well. Liuzza's safe was hit, but Cece's workers say they were spared from anything being stolen. Sulis says the neighborhood has come together to help NOPD detectives, but until they hear that the suspect is caught, these small businesses remain on high alert.
I also took some photos, like screenshots, and printed them out to give to all the neighbors. You know, we're all small businesses. We just want to, work and get through life like that, I don't know.
Now, we've asked the NOPD for information on the suspect and its burglary investigation, but have not heard back.